the most dangerous prisoner in the world. The story of Richard Lee prisons are meant to house those who break the law, but some criminals are so dangerous, so ruthless, that even the most secure prisons can barely contain them. One such person is Richard Lee, a man whose life story is filled with violence, manipulation, and chaos. In this video, we dive deep into the life of Richard Lee, a man who has been labeled one of the most dangerous prisoners in the world. The beginning of a nightmare. Richard Lee was born in 1975 in a small town in Georgia, USA. From a young age, he was known for his violent temper and disruptive behavior. Raised in an environment filled with neglect and abuse, Richard quickly developed a deep mistrust of authority. His early life was marked by criminal activity, and by his teenage years, he had already been arrested multiple times for petty theft and assault. But Richard wasn't just any ordinary juvenile delinquent. There was something darker brewing inside him, something that would lead him down a path of unimaginable violence. The crime that changed everything. In 1993, at the age of 18, Richard Lee committed a crime that would send shockwaves through the country. After a heated argument with a local store owner, he brutally attacked the man with a knife, leaving him to die in a pool of blood. This wasn't just a simple act of rage. It was calculated, ruthless, and completely devoid of remorse. Lee's cold-blooded murder earned him a swift conviction, and he was sentenced to life in prison. But this was only the beginning of Richard Lee's reign of terror. Inside the prison. A new kind of monster prison life, however, did not calm Richard Lee. In fact, it had the opposite effect. While most inmates tend to mellow with time, Richard only grew more dangerous. Behind bars, he quickly gained a reputation for being a manipulative, merciless individual. He wasn't just a threat to other prisoners. Richard Lee became a nightmare for the prison staff as well. Over the years, he was involved in numerous violent incidents, ranging from assaulting fellow inmates to attacking guards. His ability to control and manipulate others made him an even more dangerous figure. The prison system had no idea how to handle him. The psychological profile, understanding the mind of a monster. What makes Richard Lee so dangerous? Psychologists who have studied his behavior suggest that Lee suffers from a severe personality disorder, possibly a combination of antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic tendencies. Richard Lee doesn't just lack empathy. He actively enjoys seeing others suffer. He's a predator, someone who thrives on fear and control. Experts believe that Richard Lee's violent tendencies are not just a result of his upbringing or past trauma, but rather a deeply ingrained part of his personality. His need for power and dominance continues to fuel his actions to this day. The escapes, a prisoner who cannot be contained. As if his behavior wasn't dangerous enough, Richard Lee has attempted multiple escapes over the years. Each time, his plans were more intricate and violent than the last. In 2001, he nearly succeeded in breaking out of a maximum security facility, but was foiled at the last moment. Despite being locked away in the most secure prisons, Richard's obsession with freedom and his ability to manipulate those around him makes him one of the most notorious escape artists in modern history. The present day, a prisoner who won't be tamed today, Richard Lee remains behind bars, but not in a typical prison. Due to the extreme nature of his crimes and his repeated attempts to escape, he is currently held in one of the most secure, high-tech facilities in the world, the ADX Florence Supermax Prison in Colorado. The ADX Florence is known for housing some of the most dangerous criminals in America, but even here, Richard Lee continues to be a problem. Prison officials are constantly on high alert, knowing that if anyone could find a way to escape, it's Richard. The legacy of Richard Lee, a life of violence and chaos. Richard Lee's story is one of relentless violence, manipulation, and an insatiable desire for power. He has left a trail of destruction that stretches across decades, and as of today, he is still considered one of the most dangerous prisoners in the world. So, what will the future hold for Richard Lee? Will he ever be able to break free from the confines of his prison cell, or will he remain locked away? A symbol of the darkest side of human nature. Only time will tell. The story of Richard Lee is a chilling reminder of how far some individuals are willing to go for power, control, and destruction. He is a man who has tested the limits of the prison system and continues to serve as a warning of the dangers lurking behind bars. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more stories on the world's most dangerous criminals. End screen with video suggestions and